Hello. Uh, this Welcome to this new video tutorial. In this one, I'm going to explain. I'm going to even set up. It's a kind of a working tutorial where we're going to set up a web service web form and see exactly the different options that we have. The goal of the web service web form is it's a small script, a kind of extension where we can send it the result of a user filling in a form, and it will create one or more entities in its related coreBOS. Okay, so it's a very easy way to set up web forms, contact forms on your landing pages or on your website, and have the user fill in the web form and have the web service web form extension create various entities in your coreBOS. Okay, the standard native web form functionality in coreBOS permits you to create one entity, normally a lead, basically. You just fill in the form and send it to the coreBOS web form, and it creates a lead for you. The web service web form takes that a step further and permits you to create more than one entity and even relate different entities. So, for example, you could have a campaign, which a webinar registration form. Okay, so you have your contacts fill in the form and to register for the web form, and you can actually create the contact and automatically relate them with a campaign, which would be the web or the webinar. Or you could have a web form with different fields, and some of those fields are the contact, and some of those fields are actually the business opportunity that they're asking you about. Okay, which is the use case that we're going to talk about here. You have here on the wiki some information where you can see the different configuration options and kind of explains what we're going to see here now in this video tutorial. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is okay, on one part we have to create a web form, which I already did. Here I have on this tab here I have a web form, basic, just some CSS, some styling, and some forms, some input fields. And we'll see exactly the different, exactly how this is programmed, and we'll add some more as the demo evolves, the tutorial goes around. And then we have to set up the web service web form code so that when the form is submitted, it would get that information so it can send it to the coreBOS. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do here is jump over here to this link over here, the get code on GitHub. And we're going to copy this code over to our server. Okay, so I'm going to copy this URL, and we're going to jump over to my server. Okay, this is actually an SSH session against a live server, and this is exactly the same server where the coreBOS demo is, and I'm going to connect this web service web form with the coreBOS demo, online demo, live demo. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is clone the web service web form code. Okay, so as you can see here, I just pasted in the repository, and that will create me the coreBOS WS web form. Okay, so if I do this now, you see that I have this new directory here. I'm going to rename that, make it a little shorter, web form. Yeah, kind of just well, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll leave it that way. Okay, so let's change the owner of that so that it's a little bit more secure. Okay, and let's see what's in that directory now. Okay, I have exactly the same stuff that's on GitHub, a README file which explains how it goes, a test script which we don't need, we're going to set up our own, and the script. Okay, so if we open up this this file, the web service web form, which is the code, we see the first step that we have to take is to pick up this require the web service PHP client. Okay, the web service web form is PHP code. It uses the PHP web service client to connect to your coreBOS. So we have to download that from the web service library repository. Okay, and then we have to configure the steps in in the web service code. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is jump back over here to GitHub, jump into the Solution repository, and we have here web service library. Okay, this is the repository that we need. Basically, here we have libraries for a whole bunch of programming languages, and exactly we want this PHP one. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing we just did. I'm going to copy this URL, and we're going to go back over to our code, and we're going to clone that directory. That will bring down the whole coreBOS web service library for all the languages. If we look in there, we have all the languages. We just want the PHP one. And if you noticed in the web service webform code, it expects that to be in the directory cbws clib directory. Okay, cbws clib directory. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to move the code we just downloaded, but the PHP directory, which is the one we're looking for, and I'm going to move that into the cbws clib, which is what web service webform expects. Okay, that means that the rest of the directory, that all the rest of the programming language libraries, we don't need them, so I'm going to get rid of those. And now here in this cbws lib, I have exactly the PHP web service client. Okay, that's just a requirement. Okay, I'm going to change the owner on that, just like I did before. For security reasons, it's better not to have things lying around as root. Okay, so now I have that first requirement. So let's continue configuring the web service webform code. Okay, this is that was the first step here. This code here. Okay, now we have to configure this configuration array. Okay, there's an array here, and we're going to eliminate this and add here, close that. Okay, start this. Okay, so it's our $config. It's a variable and it's an array. This array will contain all the things that we want this web service to do. Okay, so let's start looking what it needs. First, it needs the URL to the coreBOS system that it has to connect to. So I'm going to delete this example, and we're going to come over here to the coreBOS demo. Okay, as you can see here, I think I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, okay, coreBOS, that's the demo site. Okay, I'm going to copy this URL, which is the coreBOS install we want to connect to. Okay, nope, wrong one. Okay, let's leave that again, and let's go back to here, and let's paste that in. Okay, so now we have this web service script connecting to that coreBOS. The user is going to be the admin user, and the password is going to be the access key for the admin user. You could use any user. In fact, you shouldn't really be using the admin user. You should use a specific user with its profile configured just to do what it needs to do. Okay. We need the access key, which is what I just copied here. Okay, go over to the preferences and a key. This is just normal web service. Like any web service, we have to use. Okay, let's see what just happened there. There we go. Okay, so URL, user, and password. That's typical web service. Okay, now the fun starts. Okay, here we have a map of what we want to do. Okay, in this case, we're going to create a contact, and then we're going to create a potential, right? But first, let's do one step at a time, and let's do this contacts. Okay, so first, I define this mapping array. We say that we want to create a contacts, and this contacts, we have to define the fields that we want to fill in. Okay, from our web form, the web form we created on any website that we have on landing pages or whatever, we're going to fill in a form, and that form, the input fields are going to have a name, which is what's going to be posted or sent or submitted to the web service script, to this script that we're creating right now. The thing is that those names have to match the ones we have to tell the script, the fields coming in, the values that are coming in, how they match to the values that are in the system, the fields, the actual fields in the coreBOS contact entity. So that's a mapping here. As you can see, we can put first name and then we can map it to first name. The the first part is the field in coreBOS, and the second part is the name of the field value coming in from the web form. If they're the same, you don't have to do anything. Just set the name. Okay, this is what the two examples below are: last name and email. Since the web form I'm going to create, which we'll see in a minute, it actually has those input fields with last name and email. I don't have to specify anything. In this case, we could, if they were different, you could, make the mapping different. You specify that use case. Okay. Besides that, I don't think we don't really need anything else. Okay, so I'm going to comment out the rest of the array, and then we'll construct as we go along. Okay, so basically I need to have a web form with first name, last name, and email, and now all I have to do is close this array correctly. I opened 3, so we have to close 3, which will be, okay, wait a minute. I opened 3 arrays. I opened the big with the config, and then map, and 3 and 4. Okay, so we need 4. We need to close 4 arrays. This one should be, okay, matching has. Okay, we need to close 4. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this should be like this. Okay, if I did that correctly, that should be all we need. Okay, just to make sure I close that correctly, and then we'll get back to it. I'm going to launch a PHP -l. This is all PHP, so -l will validate, okay, that I didn't do anything wrong, and I did on line 89. Okay, so let's see what's on line 89. Okay, that means I did something wrong somewhere. Let's close it up here, probably better. This one, okay, I already closed this one, so it's just 1, 2, 3. Okay, one less. One less. Okay, so get rid of this one and close this one here. Okay, that should do it. Okay, good. Okay, so now I balanced the PHP, the arrays. Okay, so basically we filled in the URL to the site, and we created a contacts with just 3 fields. That's it. The rest of the code is all commented out and nothing else. Okay. Okay, so now that I have a configuration array, I have the web service, the code, I have it configured to create a contact, and just with 3 fields. So basically, it's just like exactly like the native web form code functionality that we already have in coreBOS. And then we have to instantiate the web form code, which is this line that I'm on now here, this web service, new web service web form. We pass in the configuration so it knows what it has to do. And then we launch this web form send with the values that are coming in from the form. Okay. That's all we need to do. Basically, with that, we should have enough. But I'm going to add here a result variable to pick up what happens if that works or if it doesn't. And depending on if it works or not, we're going to just kind of echo out a screen or whatever. I'm just going to echo it worked. And if not, we're going to echo something went wrong. Okay, basically just to know that if it went, what's happening. Okay, if you don't do this, it would just silently do whatever it has to do. But the normal situation will be that you will redirect this to a thank you page or thank you for registering or whatever, or an error page that something went wrong and you have to ask them to resubmit or whatever. Okay. Okay, so basically the web service script is just that configuration, and we call it with these 2 or 3 lines. Now we have to set up the form. Okay, for that I created here a CB web form PHP script. It could have been HTML. It's actually nothing. If you see here, it's just styling. Okay, just some CSS, and the important part, the nice part, is here on the form. Okay, if you see, we have a form and a method post and the action. This is what we have to configure now, and we have to point that to the web service script we just created. Okay, so that script is living in the demos directory. In the demos directory, and we call the directory where we cloned it. We cloned it into this coreBOS web service web form and into this. Okay, this is the script, the actual place where the script lives, where we copied it. So I have to put that here. Okay, here in our form, we have to put that. Okay, so as you can see, the action is the submit of the form will be going to the web service web form script we just configured. And it will take care of everything. It will read all the fields that are coming from the form. It will see that it has to connect to the coreBOS system that's configured, and it knows that it will see that it has to create a contact and will submit and create that contact for us. Okay. As you can see, the rest is basically just input fields with the name, first name, and like I said before, it's important that these are the ones you have to map. If they are exactly the same as the fields in coreBOS, then you're done. You just have to map them in, and if not, you have to, kind of do the translation. Okay, and there's just three of them as we configured, and the description, which we aren't copying or we aren't sending in right now. This should be all we need to create a contact in coreBOS. Okay, so let's give that a try. Uh, I'm going to reload this page here, and we're going to put here test contact name and test contact last, and the email, yeah, this one, it fills in, and this is the description, which will not be copied. Okay, so let's send this over. Click the not send, and it said that we did something wrong. Okay, it sent us to the wrong page. So let's see what we did here. Uh, Demos, web service, web form, PHP. Okay, let me see what we did wrong there. Let's see, we put that, if I copy that directly in, it says that the page is not working, but that could be, no. Okay, let's see what I did wrong here. Let's change that name. That's all web service. That's web service web form. It's there. And let me see. Oh, coreBOS org demos CB web form, and this one is demos coreBOS web service web form, web service web form. Okay, that all looks correct. I don't know. Let's try change the name. Maybe the capital letters are mixing it up. Let's put CB web service web form. Okay, so now I changed that to CB web service web form. That means I have to change the web form, the form submit also, so that it's CB web service web form, and the rest the same. Okay, let's give that a try. Okay, I have to reload this one. Okay, test contact name, test last, this one, and send. Okay, Okay, I guess the capital letters kind of mixed that up somehow. I'm not too sure. Maybe that's something configuration on the webs on the coreBOS org site. Anyway, I don't think that should stop you. And anyway, it's good to see that. I mean, this is a live session, and okay, these things happen. And so that could happen to you too. Just kind of, I mean, it is that easy. You just have to submit the information to the script, if but you have to access it. Okay. So it says it worked. Let's go and check. Let's come over here to our coreBOS demo, and let's go into contacts. And we should see here at the end here, we should have the test contact and test contact last perfect. Okay, just everything, even the description. Okay, the description didn't come in because you don't have a field. Okay, so that it's that easy to actually create any entity using the web service web form, exactly as we created the contacts. Now, if you see, let's edit that script again. As you see, all I did was map the fields that are coming in to the contacts. Okay, so here I could create actually anything. We could trouble tickets, leads, I don't know, anything, projects, anything you need could be created that easy. If we copy here another field and put in the description, it will automatically fill in the description for us. And before checking that, we're going to go and check out this one here. And we're going to fill in another array, which is this one. Okay, another option in the configuration array, which is the defaults. Okay, we can actually create some default values for some fields. Okay, the normal situation here is that I want this new contact, the lead source for this contact, to be website, or to be something, some webinar or whatever. The idea is that you're creating a contact from a web form, and you want to know what web form it's coming from. If you have 3 or 4 landing pages, you want to know which landing pages the web form, the contact was created from. The correct way to do that is to add the campaigns or the different landing pages into the this pick list, for example, or another one, and fill that in for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is default value this to website. Okay. Obviously, you could also instead of hard coding that here, that's lead source. That's the name of the field, and this is the name of the value I want it to have. So website. Okay, so now I've added the description and I added this website value. Okay, so let's save that and go back to our form. Let's go back. Let's reload this one. Well, actually, I don't have to reload it because I didn't change anything here. So I'm just going to add a 2 here so that we can see that it's actually different contact, and send that in. Okay, it worked again. So now I should have another contact. This contact too, perfect. And we should see that website was filled in for us, and also the description. Okay. So, like I was saying, this is the really kind of basic functionality. It's really easy to play with. Really that easy to create new entities in from a web form, and and this default value obviously could come from input hidden fields on the form instead of doing default here. So if you did have actually different landing pages, you would put the hidden field on each form and fill it in from, so you know where it's coming from. Okay. The next configuration option that we have here is a matching. Okay, if it matches, it does a search for you. If the contact already exists, it updates the fields instead of creating a new one. Okay, so let's leave that one out for a moment. Let's leave that one out for a moment, and let's go down to the has, which is a more interesting kind of thing. Okay, our goal here is to create not only a contact but also a potential, and the same thing in the same web form submit. Okay, that means that we have to add some fields to our web form, which will be the potential fields. Okay, what the user is asking us about. Okay, and then we have to tell the web service script to get those fields and put them on a different entity. Okay, this is done with the has option in the configuration array. Basically, it's saying, okay, we're going to create a contact, and that contact has a potential. Or we could be creating a ticket. Okay, imagine a web form where you're submitting a ticket. Your client is submitting a ticket, a problem that they have. So they could fill in their contact information, their email and name, and then the problem that they have. You would automatically send this to the web service script. It would check to see if the contact already exists. If it does, it would just create the ticket. And if not, they would create the contact. And then that contact has a ticket. Okay, and that works. And in general, you could do almost any relations that you need. In this case, we're going to create a potential. Okay, so I'm going to indicate that this. Okay, let's leave that this way. Okay, so basically, hold on. I opened two, one, two, three arrays, but I closed one. Okay, so I need two more here. That would be this one and this one. Okay, that should balance the arrays that I have. Okay, so it has potentials, and like very similar to the contacts, we have to indicate what fields are coming in from the web form. Okay, in this case, we have the related to, which is the contact above. That's why it's in square brackets there. The potential name, which is potential name, and the closing date, which is potential closing date. Okay, and then we have the sales stage. The sales stage, I'm going to eliminate this one, and we're going to add it as a default value. We're going to hard code that one. Okay, we're going to hard code that one in. I'm doing this. It's probably already there. This is important because we have to give the web service script all the fields that are mandatory. Okay, so if we go over to the application and we go to opportunities, you will see that the mandatory fields are opportunity name. Okay, we're going to ask client for that one. The related to, which is the contact, which is already on the form. The close date, which we're also going to put in the web form. The assigned to users is filled in for you. If it's not given, it will be the same user you use in the web service script. Okay, and then the prospecting is the sales stage. Okay, so I'm going to put this one to qualification, for example, just so we can see it's different. And we're going to use that. Like I said before, the admin user I used above is it should be a more restricted user. Okay, a user with a profile just for creating from the web form. Okay, I mean this does have access. Anybody really has access to creating this entities here. I mean it's an open web form online, so you do have to kind of be careful not to give too much permission, especially not an admin. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, we're going to put the default for the sales stage to qualification. And that should work perfectly well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay, we have the potential name and the potential closing date. We have to create those on our web form. Okay. So let's save this. Just for sanity, I'm going to compile the web form again with the PHP-L option just to make sure I did the balancing right. Okay, no syntax errors. Okay, so that's correct. And we go back to our web form. We go back to our web form here. Okay, and let's go down and we're going to add here two more fields. Okay, I already have those copied here. So here we go. And let's just check what I did here. Okay, I created a new input field, which is of type text. Its name is potential underscore name, which is the mapping we did before. The ID is irrelevant. And then I added in a label. What can we help you with? And then we added a date field, type date field here, which is the potential closing date. Okay, notice that this name is very important. Okay, this is exactly what has to be put in the mapping and configuration array in the web service. Okay, fine. One last thing here that's very important that we should check, and it's kind of specific to this case. Here, uh, the admin user I'm using is for his format. The date format is day, month, and year. Okay, this is important because on our web form, which I'm going to reload now, we must have date, month, and year. This format, this is a web service requirement. Okay, every time you send some information via the web service, it has to be in the format the user you're connecting with. Okay, so this is important that it has the same value or it won't be filled in correctly. Okay, let's give this a try. I'm going to put test contact name 3 and test last 3 and email. I'm going to put the same one as before. What can we help you with? Need information about whatever. And when should it be done? We'll put 20th. And this is explanation. Okay. Let's see what happens. Send that in. And it says it worked. Let's go over to the opportunities. For example, we should have one more here at the end. And it is need information about related to test contact 3 qualification. Looks good. Let's jump in. Okay, as you can see, it actually the web service script created a new contact for me, and then it created the opportunity related to that contact with the sales stage, the 20th, the date, everything. Okay, very, very, very clean, very nice. Let's see the contact, website, everything. Okay, so as you can see, basically, it's really incredibly easy to create as many entities as we need in any configuration. All we have to do is fill in this array with the values that we have. Okay, I mean it's really that easy. And let's see kind of quickly the matching. Basically, what we're going to do here, I think we can get rid of all of this, and it probably will work. Let's read that. Let's get rid of all the fields, all the comment fields, and let's have a look. The matching part here that I just activated is a condition. Okay, basically an and or condition where you ask the web service script to first look for the contact, and if it finds it, to create not to create a new one, but to use it to create all the sub entities that are related. Okay, in this case, we have an upper or. Inside that or, we have an and, which is looking for first name and last name. Okay, so if first name and last name are the same, or the email is the same, okay, the email exists in the system, or the first name and the last name are in the system, then it will use that contact that it just found instead of creating a new one. Okay, this is in this comment here, we can see that it says first name equals first name and last name equals last name, or email equals email. Okay, so that means that if I create a new one using this new configuration, let's save that, and we'll check it just to make sure. And let's go over to the web form, and we're going to load this one again. Yeah, just in case, we'll load it again. Okay, and I'm going to put the same test contact 3. Okay, we're going to put a different email. And what can we help you with? New potential, not new contact. And we're going to put the date, I don't know, 23rd. And this is another test. Okay, this should now look for this email name and last name, which already exist in the system. find it and just create a new potential instead of creating a new contact. Okay. Before we do that, let's come over here to the contacts module and see that we have 1016 contacts in here. And the last one is this 3 that we have. Okay. So, and if we go into this test contact 3 and go to its opportunities, it should just have one, which is the one we created a moment ago. Okay. So let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Okay, it says it worked. Let's come over here. Let's reload the related this page. And there we have 2 entities. And let's see the contacts. We should have 1016. Okay, perfect. It did not create the contact for us because it already existed, but the opportunity was created for the new entity with the 23rd. Okay, so really fantastic, really kind of easy to use. I mean, it's just filling in an array, and it's extremely powerful to use. Um, the same way we could let's try to make an error just to see how the error goes. Uh, just the one before that, let's see the this last option here. This you could also match the opportunity in case the opportunity already existed. You don't have to create anything at all. And what is a little bit more interesting is this other option, which is the related with option. This thing here. This is nice because this is the webinar example I explained at the beginning, where you can say, okay, create the contact for me, or find the contact if they already exist, and then relate them with this campaign that I already have created in the system. So all it does is just relate. It just puts the person on a contact on the campaign, so you kind of know that they registered for the webinar, or for example, I have this set up on the coreBOS blog. When you subscribe to the coreBOS blog, I have a subscription list, and the web service script throws the information into into our coreBOS, and we use coreBOS in our company. It sends it into our coreBOS, and it relates that new contact with the subscription list. So when I when I make a new post on the blog, I can send out the mass email to everybody on the subscription list. It does this web service web script does that all for me. Okay, so like I said, really really easy. Uh, let's see the error. I'm going to comment this out, and that should create an error for us. Okay, why? Because the sales stage is a mandatory field on the potentials. So since now I'm not sending it in, it should give me an error. It can't create the sales, the potential. So again, save, check, and let's submit that. See what happens. Okay, let's go back and basically just submit it again. See what happens. Okay, perfect. I mean, it couldn't create the contact, the opportunity for us. If I reload this page, we'll still have the 2 here because it couldn't create the other one. Okay, it's that was just to show that depending on the result of the send call here, you can actually determine what you have to do next. Okay. So, well, I hope that was helpful, and it serves so you can easily send information into your coreBOS system with this web service script. Thanks for watching.